1, a 2, a 1.
It's time for the Better Horses Radio Show. So let's saddle up and ride as we explore the Western way of life, horses and cows, family and friends, a relationship with the land, and a relationship with God. It's all here on Better Horses Radio. Now let's hit the trails with the Better Horses team.
And welcome to Better Horses Radio. You are dialed in and so glad you joined us. I'm Ed Adams.
And I'm Merle Arbo.
And we appreciate you coming on board as we get to talk all about the equine industry. And Merle Arbo, thank you for joining me as my co-host. And you know what? We're wrapping up with the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas.
Yeah, some of you out there, maybe you're headed back or maybe you're home already. Hopefully you had a safe trip and had a lot of fun. And we got a little NFR insight on our show here today.
You know, we do have two candidates, that all professional NFR candidates and qualifiers. And you know what? We also going to sprinkle a little bit onto a little education about care and custody of horses, as we have Dr. Dylan Luter. He's at Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, and we're going to talk all about surgeries and how to better care your horse.
Well, and Ed, from Belleville, Texas, we have professional calf roper Caleb Smith. He has 4 world titles and 10 NFR qualifications.
You know, he's going to be fun to talk to, and exactly what he's doing now that the NFR is over. He was a great 2023 candidate. And, you know, we're going to keep that going. And let's move over to not only calf roping, but let's talk about barrel racing. We're excited and honored to have Kimmy Wall, professional barrel racer, and she's going to come on board. And Merle, she's going to talk about what it's like to actually go to Las Vegas and talk about the actual barrel racing circuit and how hard it is and how you have to be dedicated to have a compassion like this.
Yes, and she's out there. She's doing a show with Purina every night, too. So we're looking forward to talking to her.
You know, that'll be a lot of fun. But you know what? Let's take a break to go into our Better Cattle segment with our own Mark Oppold. Mark, what kind of advice you want to share with us today?
Well, Ed, I hope everybody is making preparations for the Christmas and New Year's holiday after this week. Really, things next week is the last full week of trade before, of course, 2 weeks of holidays, Christmas and then New Year's. But even now, we see daily trade volumes diminishing quite a bit. Let's take a look at live cattle here as we sit this week. There is really little fresh news to hash over here this week, with, again, little resolve as to whether prices can or will be moving higher. It doesn't appear to be any shortage of fed cattle, and a very large long position in fat cattle futures. There doesn't appear to be much of a squeeze. Packers ended in the red last week. They're already looking this week, trying to attempt to get back in the green. The question is, how are they going to do that? Now, looking at feeder cattle, it's simply as a matter of fewer cattle, but more cattlemen who want cattle. So now one has to determine how badly they want to chase this market higher. And in fact, bottom line, as one analyst said, they need to determine how badly they want to be in the cattle business going forward. Even with expansion, many think it's highly unlikely to break the trend of lower cattle numbers and higher beef production. It may be just that there's not enough room for everyone who wants to buy cattle, and the higher price may be the mechanism the market is using to quell the demand. So keep that in mind. This market moves higher from here. And our best look at analysts that we talked to looking at live cattle, February live cattle futures, with the shortage of cattle available, we think that the fed cattle, live cattle futures can test contract highs above 192. That was back in May. Support looks very solid in our view, below the 182 level. Might be in a range in here as we get through these holidays, but that's kind of what we see. And looking at feeder cattle, and we pick out the March contract for feeder cattle, Ed. Similarly, looking poised to test at least those contract highs above the 262.5 level. That goes back to mid-June. There is solid support above the 242.5 level. Again, kind of a wide range there, but this market is kind of set up for a pretty dramatic break, we think, more a chance than that than working much higher from here. But again, it's the holidays coming up, and trade volume already is light and likely not going to get a lot heavier. People have their positions pretty well set to get through the year and into 2025. So don't see a lot of big changes, but that being said, don't think Mark Oppold said we wouldn't be much of a change. If we do see one, that's certainly a possibility. And with that, thanks for having us on again, Ed. And as always, we wish everyone a profitable week ahead.
And thank you, Mark. We appreciate everything you're doing with Better Cattle. All right, Merle, I'll tell you what. Let's move over to our own Better Horses Tip of the Week.
Hey friends, this is Shelley Rystrom at Rystrom Quarter Horses, where we breed, raise, train, show, sell all things horses all the time. And breeding season is coming up, and there's a few things I wanted to share with you quick. First, genetic testing is important. Pull that hair now, get it in an envelope, print off the form for your registration association, and get that sent off. Knowledge is power, and it might help you make decisions, and you've got time to get that done right now. Secondly, make sure your mare's papers have been transferred into your name. I have been guilty of not always doing that timely, and it caused some headaches for myself. So learn from my mistakes. It's important that the horse is in your name when you go to register that foal. Thirdly, it's time to vaccinate and deworm, get the dental done, call the farrier, get your mare ready for breeding season. Make sure she's ready to stay healthy and keep that growing baby healthy here in a few months. Lastly, as I leave you guys today, how do you choose who you're going to breed to? I can't imagine having to do that. I'm so lucky to have Fully Furnished, and he takes my breath away here on farm, making every decision easy-ish. Sometimes I still fret about which one to choose. But I wanted to share with you an asset that you can use, and it's called an SSA. It stands for Stallion Service Auction. They have them for almost every event, or every side of our industry has its specific stallion service auctions and futurities. Different states have them, clubs, they're everywhere. And they're a great place to see a lot of stallions that do the event that you like the most. And those rates are usually reduced and sometimes come with a free membership or entry into the futurity. So it's a great place to check out. As I leave you, I just wanted to say, there was a time when all of us that have been doing this forever and have foaled out thousands of mares or whatever we've done, did it for our first time. So if you have questions, if you feel scared, if you don't know what to do, call us. There's nothing we enjoy more than sharing our passion and knowledge of horses with other people that love them.
That tees us up for a great show coming on board. I want everybody to stay with us as we have Dr. Dylan Luter at the Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine coming to us right after these messages. I'm Ed Adams.
And I'm Merle Arbo.
And we'll be right back.
Get quality you can stand on. Hoof Grip is the proprietary formula that provides shock absorption for your animals with no ice buildup, slipping, cracking, or sogginess, making it the safest, most comfortable, and maintenance-free flooring on the market. Hoof Grip installs quickly and easily over existing surfaces, is easy to clean, and withstands extreme heat or cold. From vet offices to barns, wash racks to trailers and more. Visit hoofgrip.com to find a dealer in your area today.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
Routine dental examination and treatments are essential for high-quality horse care. To prevent potential problems, a horse's mouth should be examined at least once a year. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins, Equine Field Service Veterinarian at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. We can examine the mouth and provide a treatment plan to meet the needs of each client and their horse. Visit us at ksvhc.org, the Veterinary Health Center, to discover, to teach, to heal.
Hey, it's Alex Gold from Max Motors in Belton with their huge year-end heavy-duty sale. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. New 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee up to $13,000 off MSRP. Stock number S240367. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 1/2/25. And if you're looking for the max trade-in values in the Midwest, it's Max Motors, just a short drive to Belton. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
And welcome back to Better Horses. And so glad you're staying with us here on another hour long talking about the equine industry. Merle, this is going to be another exciting segment.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to this one.
You know, and this segment is brought to you by the Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine. And what a great honor that we get to have Dr. Dylan Luter, who's also the Department of Clinical Sciences at the College of Veterinary Medicine right there at Kansas State University. Dr. Dylan Luter, thank you for joining Better Horses.
Yeah, thanks, Ed, for having me again.
You know, it's kind of exciting because we caught you in Orlando, Florida on a business trip. And can you kind of just educate our listening audience of what you're doing out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so right now I'm at a part of a 5-day meeting that's called the AAEP, American Association of Equine Practitioners meeting. It's their annual convention. It's basically where all the equine vets, they gather and get continuing education. It's really a fun, exciting thing and a huge trade show and lots of great learning happening this week.
You know, it's great to have the university right there at our fingertips in the Midwest. And one of the things I want to talk to about our listening audience is that you specialize in medicine and surgery and do a lot of research interest and also about regenerative medicine. Can you talk to us about, or talk to our listeners about regenerative medicine and stem cells and exactly what kind of therapies that is and how it can be beneficial to horses?
Yeah, this is a hot topic and a great topic to talk about. Basically, when you talk about regenerative medicine, or another term you guys might hear that's thrown about is maybe a biologic therapy. It encompasses a number of different therapies. Of course, stem cell therapy is the most sort of exciting one to think about, because basically you go in and you harvest the tissue, either bone marrow or fat. Those are the two most common ones, but there are other tissues like even you can get stem cells from blood or the pulp cavity of a tooth even. It's kind of crazy, and they'll either concentrate the cells in that tissue or they will grow the cells in the lab up until you get a certain number that you want. Usually it's like 20 million cells is what they target growing, and come back and then you inject it into the horse, and you can use it for a number of different indications. Most commonly, we think about either arthritis therapy or tendon or ligament injury, but also it can be used. There's research happening investigating the antimicrobial effects and how to fight infections. There's research looking into the use of stem cells in neurologic injury and in lung injury. So really cutting edge when you talk about stem cells and the stem cell products. It's really still kind of in the experimental stages, and that has some regulations and some things from the FDA that we have to abide by. So not every horse is able to kind of get stem cell therapy, or for every indication, depends on the study that's happening. But some other regenerative therapies that are available is the next category that I'll kind of talk about is what I usually term blood-based therapies. So the doctor will go in and there are a number of different systems that are available and different therapies. They'll sterilely prep the horse's vein and do a blood draw. 60 or 120 cc's is very common. And they'll put it into the sterile device of the product that you've chosen, and it will do its magic, so to speak. It'll either cause the cells to make the anti-inflammatory molecule, or it'll concentrate it. And then and the idea behind almost all of these therapies is to produce the good bioactive molecules to either suppress or overwhelm like the inflammation in a joint, or use these molecules to generate better quality healing tissue, and so some of the therapies that fall into this category, platelet-rich plasma, or PRP, is a common one that people may have heard of, because you can go get PRP done on yourself at some clinics. Another one is termed ACS, autologous conditioned serum, and that most commonly falls into the brand name of IRAP or IRAP2. which is owned by two different companies. And so that's probably the oldest blood-based therapy, where they draw the blood and they have to incubate it to enhance the good molecules, and then you can get multiple doses and give it right away, and then freeze other doses for later use. Some of the newer blood-based therapies that are out there, there's a product that's called autologous protein solution, APS, which is brand name ProStride, which is owned by Zoetis actually right now, and so that's a very useful tool because it's very similar to IRAP therapy, but that's more of a stall side thing. And then there are other kind of up and coming blood-based ones. I don't want to ramble on and on, take all that time, but and then just to kind of wrap up, probably like the third category is what I would call amnion-based therapies, and that basically these companies have herds of mares where they harvest the amniotic membrane from the birthing tissues and sterilely and screen it for diseases, and then they take all of the good growth factors and everything from that membrane, process it in a way that the body won't react to it when you put it in a different animal, and then you can use it very similarly to any of the other therapies that I've talked about. And so there's a lot of different options out there, and it can be kind of confusing. So I really encourage anybody who wants to know more just to reach out to your veterinarian or reach out to us at Kansas State, and we're happy to explain any or all of those some more. So
it is amazing how unbelievably advanced we have gotten with the equine industry. If you're just joining us, we're talking to Dr. Dylan Luter. He's the Department of Clinical Sciences there at the College of Veterinary Medicine at Kansas State University. And everything you described feels like this is primarily for difficult lameness cases, but is this also used for wound management too?
Can be used definitely for wound management is another common application, depending on what it is, either, fighting crowd flesh or helping a difficult wound heal.
There you go.
Or things like that. So absolutely.
So talking about more diagnosis that we have as far as tendon injury, it sounds, okay, I'm going to ask this question. It sounds expensive. And that's the first, Merle and I are looking at each other. I said, this is not something cheap. This is not something I just want to put my pasture horse through. And so there's a lot behind this as far as expenses. Is that a fair statement?
It yes and no. It can be relatively cost effective. So depending on the system in use and the therapy chosen, it can be. It's not as we're not talking just a few dollars, but a few $100s to get some of this therapy. And then it definitely goes up from there depending on what you're using. But typically, a lot of these products cost in that $700 to $800 is kind of a benchmark. $1,200 to $1,500 is another benchmark, and then of course you can get several $1,000s as well. So
there you go.
Yeah. Well, and Dr. Luter, you mentioned you're at the AAEP annual convention there in Orlando, and besides the regenerative therapy, are there any recent advancements in equine medicine or technology you find particularly interesting down there they're talking on?
Oh, yeah, I'm very excited and very glad I went to this year's conference. I'm heavy in the sports medicine and lameness area, and I've spoken before on the radio here with you guys about chiropractic and back pain. And this year is really, for the first time, I've seen a huge focus and interest in research and talks about managing back pain, investigating saddle fits, designing rehab protocols. So that's probably the thing I'm most excited about. And then also some of the more advanced imaging options for horses with advanced lameness like CT or MRI or even PET scan. So a lot of really exciting topics at this conference.
Wow.
I think one of the challenges that we have is trying to determine exactly how bad our injuries are within our horse. So talk to me about diagnosis and treatment of tendon injuries. Exactly at what point, at what stage do you feel that a average horse owner should be able to go in and take a look at their vets? Are we too premature on it, or we don't get to the vets fast enough? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think with tendon injury, the sooner you can get in, the better, because it's early in the disease process when we have the best success intervening with and getting the better healing. Once you get later on in that process, 30 days, 60 days into the healing, there's a lot of scar tissue there, and it's more difficult to get an improved outcome. So really getting in within that, it doesn't have to be within hours, but within days or a week, is really the most useful thing to get the diagnosis and understand what the extent of the injury is. And I'd say the best thing you can do for your horse, if you are worried that it's a tendon injury, is to bring them in and keep them in a stall and put a nice standing wrap bandage on them, just to protect that injured tendon from further injury. Some of the hardest things is when a horse gets turned out with a minor injury and unbeknownst to anybody, and then it goes in the pasture and further injures itself. So.
Exactly right. Well, Dr. Dylan Luter, we appreciate you joining us here on Better Horses. Want to have you back. I know you got to get back into your conferences there in Orlando, Florida. But once again, we appreciate you coming back. And we're talking to the clinical professor of the Department of Clinical Sciences, College of Veterinary Medicine at Kansas State University. Merle, we've got more business coming our way, actually more equine business coming our way, as we're going to be talking to professional calf roper Caleb Schmidt coming to us in our next episode. Stay with us. And welcome back to Better Horses. Merle, this is going to be one heck of a show. How are you, bud?
It's great. We're going good. We had a great segment, and we got another one coming up.
So we talk about learning with Dr. Dylan Luter, and I thought that was really great. But going into this next segment, I want to tell you this is going to be exciting because we're just wrapping up the NFR for 2024. But coming up, we have professional calf roper Caleb Schmidt. Now, this is important, Merle, because last year, he announced that his intentions to step away from the rodeo in favor of spending more time with his three children, his daughter Mila and his sons Cruz and Chase and his wife Brianna, and they're going to start running a family's feed store or a yard over there in Belleville, Texas. Well, just to let our listening audience know that we've got literally Schmidt wrapped up his 2023 pro rodeo season, fourth in the PRCA and in the world standings, and he made $296,000. And in his 10th trip to Las Vegas, he put together a solid showing inside the Thomas Mack Center and placed in 4 rounds and won 3 go-round buckles and finished third in the Wrangler NFR. Now, this is exciting because I'm glad to have him on board, and welcome to Better Horses, Caleb Schmidt. Caleb, welcome to Better Horses.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Well, I know you're watching the NFR going on right now as they start wrapping it up. What is your first thoughts since you've been doing this since 2015, and what it's like not to be at the NFR this year?
Man, I think that Riley Webb will make you want to retire, even if you hadn't, because he is winning everything and looks sharp and looks easy for him when other guys look like they're trying too hard and struggling. He just eases right along, but he's done really good, and excited for him, and I think he's one of the best and going to be one of the best to ever do it.
Well, I don't want to cut you short, but I got to tell you, you have a career earnings of over $2.3 million, and you had literally from 2023 to 2022 and some really nice highlights of going into claiming tie-down roping and world championships all over throughout the years and all over the place. Even Guyman, Oklahoma, I saw you out there once. And so with that in mind, are you still roping, or tell us what you're doing now, and tell us, are you teaching, and are you actually going into any type of clinics?
No, I haven't. I still rope very little. I've been to a few horse shows. I'm good friends with Clay Cherney. He made the finals in the calf roping twice back in the early 2000s, and probably one of the best calf horse trainers I've ever seen. And he quit roping, went to cutting for about 10 years, and now he's back to riding calf horses. and he's got some really good ones. He's got one or two of mine, and he trains a bunch of them and been hauling them to horse shows, and I go ride a few of them for him. But that's about the only roping I've done. I go down there and rope with him before them shows and ride a couple of them young horses and then show them. Haven't done any good. I don't know if that's my calling or not, but maybe I need to practice more. I haven't roped a whole lot. We stay busy with this feed yard, run quite a few yearlings. It's just really a preconditioning yard. We just keep them for 4 to 6 weeks, get them straight, and send them to the feed yard. So it's a real fast-paced deal and keeps you plenty busy buying sale barn cattle every day of the week. So that keeps me really busy, but it's in my backyard, and I don't have to leave the house, and I enjoy it.
Well, and Caleb, you mentioned what influenced your decision to step back from the rodeo road, and how did you prepare for this transition? Is this something you thought long and hard about, or is this something that kind of said, hey, enough's enough?
Man, I hate traveling. It was fun for the first handful of years, seeing all the places, driving. But once you get 3 kids and they cry when you leave and have to go to stupid rodeo in Oregon or fly somewhere and they're crying and not wanting you to leave, and just diesel's so expensive, and it's so expensive to rodeo these days. It's just hard to take your family with you. So I just decided to quit. I had every opportunity when I was, their age to be great and whatever I wanted to do. My parents, they just poured which it was rodeo. That's all I ever wanted to do, and rope calves. So they just poured every dollar they had into that. And I just didn't feel like it was fair to my kids for them to be living my dream and not living their dream. So I just decided the best way to do this is quit. And I was tired of driving, tired of traveling, and my horse was getting old, and I knew I'd never find another one like him or one even half as good as he was. So we just quit at the same time. And I still enjoy the rope. I don't enjoy roping a lot, but I enjoy being able to rope when I want to and not when I have to. So that was the main reason for it, is, just my kids. And I don't even know if they'll ever rodeo or do whatever, but if they want to, play golf or football or, whatever they want to do, I can. Well,
and that's what I was going to ask you, Caleb. Do the kids show any interest in rodeo, or do you think you're going to try to encourage them to go play basketball or golf or some other sport?
They'd sure make a lot more money. But I don't know, whatever they want to do. My youngest one, Chaz, he's just turned 3, and I bet he ends up roping. He enjoys it. He likes it. My oldest boy, Crew, I don't know that it's exciting and dangerous enough for him. He likes more hands-on stuff, and he just wants to, go out there and rope tie down. He doesn't want to learn how to do it and practice at it. He just thinks he wants to back in there, put a string in his mouth and tie him down today. And I can't get it across to him that that's not how it works. Roping the dummy and tracking around the arena real slow, that's just way too boring for him. So I don't know that he'll ever do it. He might fiddle with it, but I don't see him rodeoing or, trying to be great at roping. But who knows, really.
And if you're just joining us, we're talking to professional roper Caleb Schmidt over there in Belleville, Texas. And Caleb, you mentioned it. I want to deep dive into this one. You talked about your horse, and it's going to be hard to ever replace a horse like that. Can you talk to you about your training, how long you've had him, and how he did for you?
Man, I bought him in 2015 from Ian Wells in February of 15, and he was trained. He was green towards road, like at rodeos and stuff, but Ian had hauled him around, and I'd say like in perfs and stuff, he wasn't sure about the loud crowds and stuff, but he was for sure trained, patterned. I mean, he was ready to win, but it took me just a minute to get the feel for him. But by that summer of 15, I mean, we had it figured out. He was locking in, being solid, and he was one of the easiest keepers I've ever had as far as practicing and keeping him tuned up. All you had to do was take him to the rodeo. I mean, when you practice on him, you're literally just wasting your time, because he was that good, that solid, that pattern, to where he knew what to do in every situation. He was good in every situation, and all I had to do is feed him and nod my head on him, and he was pretty simple. But he was 7 when I bought him. I think he's 17 this year. maybe 17 or 17.
Which is not that old anymore. I mean, we've got a lot of people that are still buying 15, 17-year-old horses.
Yeah, but I bet they never did what my horse did. They he's been lots of miles. I rode him at every rodeo I could. I didn't do a whole lot of flying around and mounting out. When I could drive and go to a rodeo, I would take him, and if I didn't, I really didn't care to go unless I could ride one that was just as good as him, and there was very few of those when I rodeoed. But he went to every rodeo I went to. I won 2 point whatever million in my career, and I bet I won more than that on him. But in the PRCA, I won 2.3, and I guarantee you over 2 million of it was on him. And then plus all the jackpots and match opens and stuff that I won on him. So I bet I've won over 2.5 just on him. So that just tells you how much I hauled him around and how much I depended on him to be there.
Yeah. Well, Caleb, looking ahead, do you ever see yourself returning to the rodeo arena in some form or fashion, or are you just planning on focusing entirely on other adventures, or what's next in the chapter for you?
Man, I don't even know if I'll buy my card next year, honestly. I won the match open in San Angelo in October, and I'm guessing they're going to want to invite me back. It's just kind of a match up till you lose situation. So if I feel like it, I'd probably go there, but I bet that's the only, and it's a PRCA co-approved roping. So that would be about the only pro rodeo I'd go to. And I would go to a few of them horse shows if they needed me to. And that's it. But as far as pro rodeo, no, I don't think I'll ever do that again. I don't have any urge to, even watching NFR. I mean, I enjoy watching it and watching them guys rope and stuff, but I hadn't had any encouragement to return at this point. So I hope I don't, because I really fought it the last couple of years, wanting to be at home and kids and stuff like that. It was hard to leave.
It's a pretty good life, but it ain't a good living, is it?
I retired to work too, so I don't know how smart I am.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're just talking to professional calf roper Caleb Schmidt, and he has had a career earnings of over $2.3 million. We're all watching the new young guns coming up with the NFR for 2024, but I got to tell you, he placed 4th last year in the 2023 World Standings. Caleb, I want to thank you for joining Better Horses. It's always great to talk to the guys who've been there, done that, and I guess we just got to have you on Better Horses Television as you start working up clinics and showing us how to rope. I think that's the only way to go next.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right. Caleb Schmidt, everybody. Hey, Merle, we've got more Better Horses coming our way. We're going to talk about an NFR girl who's been barrel racing and is over there in Las Vegas right now. I'm Ed Adams.
And I'm Merle Arbo.
And we'll be right back right after these messages.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dylan Luter, a specialist in equine performance medicine at the Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. Our new service focuses on lameness diagnosis, advanced imaging, physical therapy, and regenerative medicine for horses with injuries preventing them from performing at their best. We can treat a variety of conditions and design a customized rehabilitation plan to meet the needs of each client and their horse. Visit us at ksvhc.org, the Veterinary Health Center, to discover, to teach, to heal.
Hi, I'm Tommy with Heritage Tractor. Whether you're looking to maintain your yard or your whole ranching operation, Heritage Tractor has John Deere mower and tractor packages that make work fly by. With a variety of horsepower and attachment configurations, we have a package to best fit your needs and budget. To learn more about these exclusive packages, visit us in store or online at heritagetractor.com.
Legendary products, extraordinary service, that's our heritage.
Established in 1956, the Pinto Horse Association of America was formed to welcome all types of equines and maintain their show records and pedigrees. PTHA currently has over 88,000 members with 157,000 registered Pintos. There are currently 3 separate registries: the Color Registry, the Solid Registry, and the Long Ear Registry. We welcome all levels of competition within a family-friendly environment. Become a member, register, and add value to your horse. For more information, check out the website PintoWorld.com.
Get quality you can stand on. Hoof Grip is the proprietary formula that provides shock absorption for your animals with no ice buildup, slipping, cracking, or sogginess, making it the safest, most comfortable, and maintenance-free flooring on the market. Hoof Grip installs quickly and easily over existing surfaces, is easy to clean, and withstands extreme heat or cold. From vet offices to barns, wash racks to trailers and more. Visit hoofgrip.com to find a dealer in your area today.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
It's time to go with United Mosquito and Fly Control's premier fly system for fly control in your barn, providing relief for horses from the stress of fighting flies, and also makes the barn more pleasant for everyone in the barn. Easy, effective, and safe. With United Mosquito and Fly Control, we provide a full service. You as the barn owner don't have to do anything. We go everywhere and take care of everything with our friendly fast service. Call today at 913-558-3814 or email Paul at unitedmosquito.com.
Hey, it's Alex Gold from Max Motors in Belton with their huge year-end heavy-duty sale. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. New 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee up to $13,000 off MSRP. Stock number S240367. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 1/2/25. And if you're looking for the max trade-in values in the Midwest, it's Max Motors, just a short drive to Belton. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
And welcome back to Better Horses. So glad you stayed with us, Merle. And again, this is one of our best shows we've got going today.
Oh, if you like the NFR, you're gonna like this show. We got a lot of good experience coming from there.
You know, really appreciated Caleb coming on board with us, Caleb Schmidt. But also, this segment is brought to you by the John Deere dealers and Heritage Tractor. So if you have your heritage needs or tractor needs in Kansas, Missouri, or Arkansas, complete all your farm construction and lawnmower garden needs by checking out heritagetractor.com. Okay, so Merle, this is exciting because we kind of have like a roving reporter out there at the NFR over there in Las Vegas. And there's a thing called Cowboy Christmas. And there's a lot going on there. But I want to bring on board Kimmy Wall, and she is a professional barrel racer and a few years of training horses with her husband, Travis. She's been a professional rodeo on the Professional Rodeos Association since 2014. And I got to tell you, I'm very successful to have her come on board and have her come on this show. And let's welcome Kimmy with Better Horses Radio. Kimmy, hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for including me. I'm so excited to be here. You really did your homework. Wow. I'm impressed.
Well, I got to tell, I know you're a wife and you're a mother of two. I know I got that all down, and you're one of the top barrel racers in the circuit. But, you know, that's a passion you really have to be dedicated to. And can you tell us what it takes to really get at that level and to be at the NFR and to be a barrel racer?
You know, the level that the genetics have brought to our program and the horses and the competition level is just unreal that we have here. And I think it shows in the barrel racing and how exciting it is that it's one of the most exciting sports here. And, you know, it shows in all levels of our program. So, you know, it takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot away from your full-time jobs. It just takes a lot to get to this level. It takes a lot of passion. So, you know, it's something you have to eat, breathe, think. It just has to become a part of your daily routine every day to get to this level. And these girls are amazing out here. And I'm just excited that I get to be part of them and call them my friends. And I just get to cheer on each and every one of them. So I'm glad I get to be here and be part of it.
You know, I'm excited about having you on board because you're an extremely successful career at the WPRA. But in 2016 at the National Finals Rodeo, you won multiple rounds and even finished a second away from the Thomas Mack Arena record at 13.46. Did I get that right?
You did, yes. And, you know, we were talking about that last night. I do a show with Purina Performance Horse on stage, and we had Jimmy Monroe on there and several other NFR qualifiers, and we were talking about that. You know, I was as 13:46 back then, and 16. And, back then that seemed really fast. And it seemed like if you got a sub 14-second run, and back then it was super fast, but that just goes to show how much they've improved. They've improved the ground. They've improved the conditions. I think that's a big reason we're seeing those faster times every year. And, that's the way it should be here at the NFR. We should have the best of the best conditions. You should have a fair chance to win no matter where you're at on the ground. So, yes, it's so fun to see those girls be able to grab a check no matter where they lie on the ground. So it's super exciting to see that as a fan. And I think the crowd really is able to get into it.
Let's talk about your horse, Foxy, over there, and really performed well back in the day. But that horse, was that a young horse or was that a fairly older, experienced horse at the time you were running him?
So when I first started out on Foxy, I had 2 young kids at home, and, I kind of knew I had a great horse underneath me. And I thought, when I first started out in 2014, I was like, well, let's just go to some rodeos and see what she'll do. And at the time, she was a maturity horse. I think she was just coming off her maturity, or she was a 6-year-old. And I went to some rodeos down south. I'm originally from Utah, and I went down south to some rodeos, and she placed everywhere she went. And then all of a sudden your name's in the standings, and you're stuck with the decision. You either go home and wait for the rodeos to come around after the snow melts in Utah, or you hit the road and you go to the rodeos down south in Florida and Mississippi and Alabama and Texas and all over, and you hit the road and you make a decision. And so that's what we did. And 2014, 2015, and 2016, I ended up at the NFR, and that's just how it went. I think it's every little girl's dream that ever runs down an alleyway and turns a barrel to come to the Thomas and Mack and run. But, there was kind of a time I didn't know if it would ever happen for me, because I became a wife and a mom, and you just kind of think that maybe that dream has died. But I'm here as a testament to every little girl and every wife and every mom that it's never too late. And if I can do it, anybody can do it.
And Kimmy, you bring up an interesting point about, everybody wants to go to Las Vegas and go to the NFR, and you've been there and done that. But to our Better Horses listeners out there, can you tell them what it's like being in Las Vegas during the NFR? How does it feel to be like surrounded by the rodeo atmosphere all around the city?
You know what? It's so fun to come to Las Vegas at Cowboy Christmas time, because I've been to Las Vegas at other times of the year, and it's not the same as coming at NFR time, because you come this time and it's our people. It's a sea of cowboy hats on every plane you get on. It's our type of people that is here. That's all you see is the cowboy crowd. And it's not just the cowboy crowd that's excited to see us. It's every cab driver, every waitress. Everybody is excited that the NFR gets to come to town. But, it's people like us everywhere you go. I sat with some people at lunch yesterday that were from upstate New York. Oh. Then you get to sit with people from upstate New York, clear to California, and we're all the same people. So how much fun is that one rodeo in the bright lights of Vegas gets to unite the country? I love it. There's no better feeling than being here with your kind of people from one side of the nation to the other side of the nation. And, you see people from all over the world that it's just their dream to come here and see this. And I love it. I love the cowboy people and the cowboy lifestyle. There's nothing like it.
And if you're just joining us, we're talking to Kimmy Wall. She's a professional barrel racer, 2-time NFR qualifier, sitting in Las Vegas right now. Kimmy, I got to ask you, what now? What do you do? Are you doing clinics? Are you out there at your place and doing programs and buying horses? Or are you going to get back into the game?
So just this week here at the NFR, I do a nightly show for Purina. You can find it every night at the Purina Performance Horse Facebook page. And it's live, and we interview all sorts of rodeo people. And so that is what I'm doing here in Vegas. But for Travis and I and our family, my kids are raised now. They're off kind of doing their own thing. My daughter is a barrel racer now too. I am raising barrel horses, selling barrel horses. Some we have sold that are out of my great mare Foxy, and that's been so fun to see those horses and those colts of hers go to some great hands. But I am training some young barrel horses and hoping to get a little more time to rodeo. We also raise some race horses that are involved in the quarter horse racing. So that's been a fun venture for us, and we have moved from Utah to Oklahoma to be part of that program, and we have learned a lot with that. So we have got really involved in the race horses, but rodeo is always where my heart will lie, and that's, I think, where I will always stay. So yes, hoping to get back out to some rodeos now. I've always said, you know, when I rodeoed before, my kids were young, and that's one reason I went home is I had 2 teenagers at home, and that would be a horrible mom to leave one husband home wrangling 2 teenagers. And I wouldn't have wanted to have missed my kids for anything. I sure enjoyed them and everything they have done. Strand, my son, ropes, and my daughter runs barrels, and they're off doing their own thing. And I've loved every part of being their mom, but it would be a lot easier to rodeo now. So I guess that's probably one thing that we can take off and do now. So there's lots of new adventures, but rodeo is always where my heart will lie.
You know, wrapping it up, I wanted to ask you a question. Let's talk about the barrel racing industry as a whole. Do you see it growing out there? I know there's a lot more safety elements putting involved, and but the speeds are getting faster. And to your point earlier in this interview, you said the athleticism is getting better. And so what are you seeing with these young girls coming up into this industry?
Oh my gosh, the barrel horse industry has grew leaps and bounds even in the last 5-6 years. We've had several incentive programs join the scene that have made everybody want an incentive horse, and they've added a lot of money to the barrel racing industry that has made everybody want a pink buckle horse, a ruby buckle horse, and it's made the price of those horses jump up immensely. And it's so amazing to see those horses finally be able to sell for what they're worth, and that's so much fun, especially when you're a small-time breeder like Travis and I are. It's so much fun to see those prices go up. And, you know, especially when we're raising horses out of our good mares, like I've had 3 mares that I've ran now that I have babies out of now that are going into great futurity trainers' hands, and they are able to run for huge amounts of money, not only here at the NFR, but barrel races across the country. And, you know, not everybody wants to rodeo, and not everybody can rodeo, but they can still run for great amounts of money. And, you know, the kids 18 and under aren't able to rodeo yet, so they're still able. There's kids that have crossed the $1 million mark at just the barrel races in earnings at just the barrel races. That tells you how much money there is out there.
Yeah, that is amazing.
It's a great industry, and I am glad to be part of it.
No, thank you for saying that. And I want to thank you for joining us. I know you took time out of Las Vegas. Any final words there for Cowboy Christmas that you want to buy and spend a lot of money on, or tell everybody to be aware of that, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I think I've been to every tack store and every bit store there is. So I've already hit them first and bought them out. So there's plenty of stuff here. They've grew this immensely, and it's so fun to see.
It is amazing. Professional barrel racer Kimmy Wall, thank you for joining Better Horses. And Merle, we're going to wrap it up from there. But Kimmy, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, it's great to have Kimmy Wall, professional barrel racer, with us, you know, Merle. And it's nice to have a lot of people who've been there, done that, and telling us what they're doing after they get done with the NFR.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a really fun lifestyle, and it's a goal for a lot of people. But it's I think what we got from the show today is it's a tough lifestyle too.
Oh, you really have to appreciate it. I mean, talking to Kimmy and talking to Caleb over there, those guys have spent their entire career and their lives on the road, and we just don't realize what an impact it really does for them.
Well, and what they sacrifice, you know, like it is tough being away from families, and you know, you feel like you're pursuing your dreams at the cost of, you know, growing and raising your family, and so it's always I appreciate insight like that.
You know, and they wouldn't trade it for the world. But I got to tell you, we appreciate all of you joining us here on Better Horses Radio. And if you're driving and doing chores and just riding horses, I want to invite you to look at Better Horses Radio podcast, now available. You can hear this show and all the shows in the past, and we're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Foxfire, Chrome, Echo, and even YouTube.
Well, don't forget to look for a Better Horses Winter Edition. It'll be coming out soon, with full of great tips for horses and riders alike.
And, you know, we're going across the country, and we're just talking a lot of shows that are out there, and including the Pinto World Championship that's coming up next year. We like to go out there and see exactly what it's like to show horses, and you can check us out on our Better Horses television, airing on RFD, the Cowboy Channel, and Equus TV.
Ed, I'd like to give a special thanks also to the team behind the scenes, our radio producer, Brianna Johnson, our TV producer, Kelly Creech, and of course, all of our great sponsors.
Yep, and that kind of wraps us up for this week. Merle, I want to thank you for joining me, and I want to thank all of our listeners for being good buckaroos and buckarettes. I want you to mind your mom and dads and be brave, but don't take any chances out there. Until next time, I'm Ed Adams.
And I'm Merle Arbo.
Happy trails, and always ride for the brand.